God didn't have to create the world. God didn't have to create the world, and God knew that the world was going to end up a fallen place, and he decided anyways to create the world and have this whole grand narrative as we talk about this creation, fall, redemption, restoration. God could have just stayed content with himself, and instead he decided to do something extravagant to bring himself glory.
There's a God who cares about us, who literally sent his son on the cross to die for us, a story that I have known my whole life, I need to be reminded of.
I would have wanted to clutch the pew and absolutely scream, "I crucified thee." It was I, the one who whipped you, who nailed you to the cross.
The verse in Job where Job questions God and God says, like, who are you to question me and what I'm doing? Like, I'm the God of the universe. And like, I don't know, I just kind of think of that, like, it was hard, but you know, who am I to question God, and like how he's teaching me to be a follower of him healthily and glorifying him not only through what I'm doing, but also through being healthy.
It starts with Romans 6:1. Paul says, "What shall we say then? Shall we go on sinning so that grace may increase? Certainly not."
There's been ups and downs. It hasn't been perfect or anything, but God never promised us perfect. He promised us difficulty, hardship, but he also promised us that life would be good. And thus far, life has been good.
Learning more to trust God and having his will be done. And learning that everything that I want to set out and do in my life, I'm a very task-oriented person. Sometimes those tasks don't get done. Sometimes you meet obstacles, and sometimes that's for the best. Sometimes you realize later that it's what God wanted in that moment.
It causes us to think about grace, to not have a flippant idea of grace, to just be forgiven for everything that we do. It calls us to respond to Christ's death and resurrection by walking with him, wrestling with him, and living out the gospel.